Your parents, your mother's from Australia, right? Mm-hmm. And your pops was from New Zealand.
Yeah.
Like, what was the household like? Because you said, I saw an interview, you say your mom's on like a hippie type life.
Yeah.
And your pops was on, how do you say it, Maori?
It's Maori, so
Maori.
The M-A-O is like a Moa.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was insane, to be honest. So it was a mixture of two different cultures and different lifestyles. So my mum was an art major, so she's a visual artist and super into nature and hippies and all that stuff. And my dad, just straight Polynesian, grew up like on the maraes in the Maori villages and stuff. Well, not in the village, but like that lifestyle. So for us, it was like a clash of the two cultures, but for the most part, it was pretty cool because we had our mum who was be free and like do whatever you want kind of thing, and then my dad was more strict, and especially when it came to culture. And so having the strict down the line and respect for culture, and then having the encouragement of art and freedom, it kind of, it was fun and crazy at the same time. But we were exposed to a lot of music as well because of that. And so I don't know, each of my brothers and sisters they're either singers or artists, and I don't know, it definitely plays a huge role in the way I see visually music and the way I feel it and hear it. I guess for me, growing up in Australia, this is the way I put it. I was born there, and that's home. Basically, my passport's Australian, but I never really felt like I belonged there until I went home. When I went to New Zealand, it's just a sense of belonging, in a sense that you're a part of something bigger. And I think everyone who, no matter if it's a small piece or you're jewel like me, I'm fruit salad, my mom's got there's a lot of cultures, but it's important I feel like if you go back and you learn about them and you understand the culture, you understand yourself a little more in the way that your parents bring you up, in the way your mannerisms, in the way that you do things, and your beliefs. Because a lot of it, you're not taught things like, this is Māori culture that you do this. It's just that's the way that your parents do things, or the way your grandmother speaks to you. And knowing that and understanding where you're from, it gives you a place in the world, I guess. It makes you feel like you're a part of something. I just would feel so sorry for someone who doesn't know that. If you know anything about Australia and New Zealand, we have this thing called the Trans-Tasman Agreement, which means we can travel freely between countries. So there's a lot of Polynesian and Māori living in Australia and vice versa. But in New Zealand, especially, being Māori, it's something we celebrate being Māori, and it's a big thing in New Zealand. We have our own television shows, our own radio stations. They learn how to speak Māori in all the schools. Even the state-owned schools, like Māori is a subject in all the schools, and I want to say it was compulsory in the younger years, and then you can decide as you get in elementary and high school that you continue to take those. But also they have schools and high schools that are in flat out straight Māori language, like they don't speak English at all. And you go to those schools, and those are the schools where the kids that come out of there, you know that they're from there because they're just fluent, and that's a choice you can get. Or you can pass high school in Māori if you want to. But I know that the culture is Māori culture, and te reo, and the language is definitely, it's there for you if you want to do it. I guess I've been lucky in a sense where culture is something to be proud of, and it's not something that we receive. I mean, you get like a little bit of the racist sort of thing, but it's nothing like I see how people get it here. And it breaks my heart because we grow up being proud of who we are, and we never, So, I think the culture and knowing who I am and where I'm from plays a huge role in just more so the confidence in who I am as an artist, and knowing that I have this long line of culture, and it's beautiful, and it's definitely embedded in a lot of my personal beliefs in the way that I work and the way that I write and perform.
I'm aware that reggae is done specific kind of like Polynesian culture, but I hear that you dealt with the soul music. So where was your exposure to like Motown and Sam Cooke? Where
My
did that
dad,
come from? Your
yeah,
pops?
definitely my dad. So that's all the music he ever played was either Sam Cooke, Stevie Wonder. Those were his two favorites, and just all the Motown stuff. And so naturally, as you grow up and whatever's playing, that's what we kind of gravitated towards. And I remember when I was younger, I found his like little collection of like cassette tapes, because we used to record over the top of it and they stick the paper under the bottom and record. but you know, and then some of them were, I don't know, I just fell in love with the way that the music was and how it felt. And I remember how he used to get how watching him and his connection with them and how much he loved them. Like, it was just, yeah, I always remember that.
Do you know how he got exposed to the music?
I think New Zealand itself is a massive melting pot of music, and I think, especially with the music scene there, most of the Māori people, they listen to soul, and just that's what kind of resonates with us, and the way we sing in our culture it's similar in the sense it's very strong and powerful. And
I'm waiting for you. Waiting for your love. Said I'll be the only one who'll ever give you love and affection. Yeah, I'm waiting. Said I'm waiting on you.
Where did the early exposure to reggae come?
I think just being Polynesian and growing up again with Polynesia, there's so many different islands, and so you have Samoa, Tonga, Hawaii, and all these other places, and each of them have their own little thing going on. But with island music, obviously reggae was a common factor in all of them, and so I grew up listening to like people like Fiji and Patti, and they were the ones that kind of really incorporated reggae with the soul, and then us younger ones came along and we've added our vibe to it, and with the new type, so they mixed like that old soul music with reggae, and so us coming into the island reggae scene, we obviously grew up to 90s R&B, and then the stuff that's happening now within soul, and we bring that in, and yeah, it's a continual.
So it seems like Fiji inspired this whole generation.
Basically, he plays a huge role in what it is that we do, and like, you can ask anyone like in our genre that he plays a massive role in yeah, he was my mentor coming into the scene as well. So because I didn't even know I was going to be an island reggae artist. It's like, it kind of just happened. I always thought I was going to be like an R&B or indie kind of, but once I did, like I went and discovered like the whole, I went and studied. If I'm going to say I'm a reggae singer, like, I need to know what the hell I'm singing about and that culture, at least some of it, or find something within it that I love and that I can, latch to. And so I fell in love with all the early reggae and how Bob Marley and the Wailers and how they took soul music and they created their own sound, and how that linked in the whole ska thing. But my favorite artists have to be like Alton Ellis and his sound and the way that he did things. I really love that.
You were a background singer? Mm-hmm. What was the group and how did that come about?
So growing up in Brisbane, Australia, that was like my only little link to music. And I just sang background just for a little local group. And we used to sing a lot of acoustic reggae type stuff, but within that group there was a massive, everyone loved all kind of different genres, and so there was acoustic, and there was folk, and there was alternative, and me and the soul sound, and so yeah, I just sang background. It was fun, and I just never thought I would do anything more than that. It was just a hobby kind of thing. I was a social worker for the most part, and so.
Were you writing back then?
Always writing, yeah. So I was writing and just like keeping it in. Like, I've got all these old books and stuff that I used to write. I'd listen like to the way stuff was written, and I don't know. I just guessed. Everything is a big guess, basically.
You were a social worker. How was that?
I loved it. It was probably one of my most favorite jobs. I worked as a youth worker and a social worker, working with crazy kids, because I was a bit of a crazy kid growing up as well.
Yeah.
And yes, I was happy and content in my job, and then one day I got a message on, I think it was on YouTube, and one of the videos that we'd done, I was just mucking around after band practice in the garage. If you ever watch the videos, you'll see them. I got an email, and the rest is history, really.
Just like a star in the sky, just like an angel off the page, you have appeared to my life. Feels like I'll never be the same. Just like a song from my heart, just like oil in my hands. I'm not to love you, but still I wonder why it is I don't argue like this with anyone but you. It's been just me for a while, I must admit, and I get tired of waiting for a love that I don't think will come. Sometimes when I'm alone, I call you up just to hear your voice, waiting for me on the other line. 'Cause no one wants to be alone. 'Cause no one wants to be alone. 'Cause no one wants to be alone, baby.
So the videos got out there on YouTube, right? So after that, you moved to Hawaii?
Yeah, after that, I was in Australia. I went to Hawaii and spent some time there and created the first EP, the first singles. And no idea how it was gonna work out, just for fun kind of thing. They released the first single and it just went like wildfire.
But how was life in Hawaii? Cause you
Loved it.
Where were you
Honestly.
staying and who were you? How did you?
I was working with a guy called Noah Cronin, and he's from a group called Kolohe Kai, or previously, and he produced the first EP. Yeah, and I loved it. I was staying out in Kalihi Valley. But it was dope. I really enjoyed it so much. I originally wanted to move there, but instead I moved to New Zealand because the scene there is quite big as well. And then from New Zealand I went back to Hawaii, and then signed with another label in New Zealand, but then they moved me to LA.
So you moved to Hawaii, you did the first album, built up the name.
Yep.
Then when you built up the name, you went back to New Zealand.
I moved to New Zealand first, and then I was back and forth to Hawaii. So it was, but yeah, I'd say the longest period I spent in Hawaii was during that work on the second EP, and with the new label, and then that dropped, and I moved to LA with Aradna, who's another artist from New Zealand. And then, yeah, from that label, I signed with another label. I don't want to talk about all the craziness that happened at each of those labels, but you know, as it is, how the music industry goes. And so from then, I've been in LA ever since.
Thank you so much for watching I Never Knew TV.
Please subscribe, comment, like, share.